I'm Karen Quinn, and today I am going to give you an updated review of Aristotle Circle's ERB or WIPSI workbook, and I want to compare it to the workbooks that are put out by Bright Kids New York City, because I think in the ERB workbook world, those are the two best products that are out there. So if you're thinking about getting a workbook, these are the two that you would really be considering if your child has to take the WIPSI or the ERB, as they call it in New York. So what I want to do is kind of show you the two different products, and we'll kind of compare, and then you can decide which one you think is right for you and your family. Beginning with the Aristotle Circle workbook. This is one I have reviewed before, but they recently sent me their newest update, and so I actually changed my mind about a lot of things concerning this workbook. I mean, I liked it before, but I like it even better now. So I want to tell you about some of the new things they've added and why I think it is really such a very good product. This is their workbook, and you can see how big it is. This is for the ERB, for the WIPSI. And one of the things I like about it is that it has all these tabs, which this tells you the first one is about the test. We have a tab for the block section, the matrix reasoning section. So it's just very easy to navigate and find your way around this workbook. The other thing I like about it is it has so many questions. The book has 500 questions, really more than 500 questions. The other thing it has that is kind of an extra is in the vocabulary section, there are over 400 images and words. Okay, so these are extra things that you can work with, because you'll be able to ask your child vocabulary questions with respect to these. You can ask them, for example, what is a rhinoceros, and ask them to describe what a rhinoceros is. Or you could say, point to the rhinoceros, which is another thing task that happens on a WIPSI test. It's called picture identification. So you can use these for more questions. And the other thing is things are grouped into categories, which again, it's very, very important on the WIPSI and really on all tests for children to know what goes together. And so what they've done is they've taken all these 400 extra vocabulary words with pictures and put them into groupings. So you can kind of study them, things related to eating, things related to communication, that kind of thing. So all of this is extra, and it is in this WIPSI book. And the other thing, actually beyond that, they also have something called concept groupings. Again, this is sort of an extra, and what they've done is they've put things together into categories that may be a little bit more unusual, so kids can start thinking about why things go together in a little bit more unusual way. So for example, things that have wheels, or things that move, things that are hot, things that provide warmth, things that open and close. And so you see there's a lot of different categories that you don't always think about, but relate to the kinds of questions that might be asked on an ERB test. So I like the fact that there is so much extra in this book. The other thing that's great about it is if you buy that book, you get with it a practice test. And this practice test has an extra 50 questions. So you get more questions, and you get this is the stimulus book for the child. These are the instructions for the parent, and then of course there's the scoring sheet. And you can buy these separately from the main workbooks for $150. But if you buy the main workbook, you do get this $150 value along with the $500 workbook, which is expensive, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The other thing that I do like about this is they've actually added some really fun things to them. I'm not a big workbook fan in that, I think you don't want your child to be feeling like, oh, it's test prep time, let's sit down at the workbook and make it feel like school. You don't want to do that. You want to try to keep it fun. And one of the things I really like about this is they've put these little monsters throughout throughout the workbook, and they're just sort of inside the book making trouble and doing funny things throughout the whole workbook. So they make it kind of fun, these little monsters. And you also get stickers, 80 stickers with little monsters that you can give your child to inspire him to work harder and to reward him when he does really well. The other thing that the book comes with is it comes with blocks. And you may remember that I'm not a big fan of using these blocks because they are so close to the real thing. You know, I would prefer that you use something similar, maybe pattern tiles, something a little bit different. These are just, in my mind, a little bit too close to the real thing, and I always worry about children saying something when they're being tested. However, when I first got Aristotle Circles package, I was not a fan of their blocks because I didn't think the quality was that good. They have since found a new provider, and the quality of their blocks is fine. I mean, they're very, very good. They're nice size, uniform color, everything's good with them. But with respect to blocks, because I know Aristotle Circle gives them, and Bright Kids New York City also gives them, I would just say to be very careful using them. Use them just as long as your child needs them, and to master the skill, and once they've mastered the skill, stop using them. I just think that they're just way too close to the real thing, and they provide, in my opinion, a little bit of a risk. But you know, you might feel differently. You might want to use them. And what I would just say is that the blocks that come now with Aristotle Circles package are fine. They're fine blocks. Kids will enjoy. And finally, the Aristotle package gives a lot of good background information. So they talk a lot about what it's like for your child to take the test, and they talk about what you can do to, you know, help him do his best, to be motivated, and how you can bring some of these underlying abilities into the home, and you know, work on vocabulary at home and work on memory at home. A lot of the same things that I talk about in my book, they do talk about in their workbooks. So for that reason, I think overall the Aristotle Circle package is a tremendous value, and you really do just get so much for your money. It's just, if your child is going to take the WIPC, there is a lot of material here to practice with. And the only thing I guess I would caution you about, and I would caution you about this with any workbook, is you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to get your child tired of, oh, let's do the workbooks. You know, you don't want to get them to feel like that. So maybe just do 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes at the most, and just leave it at that, and keep it light and keep it fun. So what is the downside with Aristotle Circle? I think the downside is it's expensive. It's a $500 item. You do get a lot for the money, so the value is there, but it is a really expensive item. I will grant you that. So why don't we take a look at Bright Kids New York City and see what you get for their on their workbook, and theirs is a $300 workbook. Let's compare.